It was enthusiasts who inspired the birth of the TR Register, and enthusiasts run it to this day. In 1969, the TR6 had just been introduced, but British Leyland had already lost interest in the older models. Spurred on by letters published in Motorsport, a group of TR enthusiasts then got together and founded the TR Register. The inaugural meeting took place at Hopcroft's Halt near Oxford in January 1970, and the first newsletter was published in March. That was 25 years ago. The Register has come a long way since then, as Chairman Ian Evans now makes clear.
We've come so far in 25 years. When we started with just a little group of people back at Hopcroft's Halt in 1970, I don't think anybody realised that we would have the huge display, the huge numbers, the great variety of activities that we've got here today.
It's not our car, it's us. I mean, what we have to do.
Well, I actually founded the Wessex Group because at the time there was no Wessex Group. In fact, we just had a list of numbers from the office, people in Hampshire and Dorset, so I founded the Wessex Group, also edited its magazine, and I could see through the Wessex Group the way that the club was developing. And I also, as I attended the internationals and many, many meetings, I got to know the people at the centre of the national scene, as it were, and again I could see how the club was developing. I could see that the club was not going to be an elitist club ever, and I was very pleased about that. Well, I was invited to be chairman in 1989. We'd had some difficult years in the 80s, for one reason or another. I would say that since 1989, we, as a committee, as a whole, I'm not speaking as individuals now, as a whole, we've got, as a club, the best committee we've ever had. We are all pulling in the same direction. We're all singing the same song, more or less. And I think we've given the club a strong central direction, a sense of purpose. And I think that's reflected in the fact that the whole club has become tighter, better coordinated. There are better links between the management committee right down to the average member. Communication right from the top to the bottom, if you want to use that term, is much, much better, and vice versa as well. I welcome the fact that people this weekend have been coming to me as chairman. They've seen the badge and they said, oh, by the way, can I just bounce this one off you? And I like that. I think that we must always be democratic, and we must always have our feet on the ground. And of course, a weekend like this is a very good way of, with wearing a badge, of being able to directly listen to ordinary members, watch them enjoy themselves, get feedback from them, and make sure that we are doing for them what they want. So, for example, for the Racing Fraternity, we have a series of races, our own race championship, and of course, like many car clubs, we have links with other clubs, and with them we can offer racing and sprinting and hill climbing to those members, and there are quite a few who are keen on that side of activities. The social activities are very important. The road runs, the convoys, the rallies as well. One thing we have never forgotten, I never forgot in Wessex, and I learned in Wessex that it's very important. You must never forget the ladies and the children. Because of course we've all got older, and we've all married, and we've all got children. But there are still younger members coming in, very often with girlfriends. We must not alienate the female of the species. We must make sure that the female, who perhaps is not always quite as keen as the male, has for herself something which interests her. We have trade stands in the main hall this weekend, which are specifically female oriented.
Basically then, the injector, which is of course a valve.
Yeah. I think that for the ordinary member, the international meeting should encapsulate what the register is about. It should be about friendship, it should be about help for those who need help to keep their cars on the road, it should be about encouragement for those who have got their cars on the road, it should be about availability of spare parts, it should be about social activities, it should be about enjoying fun with TRs. The TRs are a means to an end. Really, the club exists to keep TRs in existence, on the road, in use, in concourse, but also to link the people who own and drive these cars together.
In the early days, the register was only open to owners of sidescreen TRs, TR2s, 3s and 3As. And there would be a lot of debate before the Michelotti-style TRs, and later the TR7s, could be admitted. There was no lack of enthusiasm for meetings, get-togethers, rallies, any sort of gathering, and even for foreign trips. In the early 1970s, for instance, this group of Avon-based members made the trip to and from Le Mans to see the 24-hour sports car race. How then did the register develop? Let's hear now from some of the very earliest members.
Terry Simpson was the first president, and his wife Val ran the club, and they basically the whole club started from Terry and a few other people corresponding about the last real sports car. This was in 1969, and the correspondence it was in Motorsport basically said, you know, it wasn't a Morgan and it wasn't this and it wasn't that. It was a TR because it had side screens and a tank range of 200 and some odd miles.
And I wrote suggesting that perhaps we should form a TR register, and those were my very words. So it was then Terry Simpson that called the inaugural meeting at Hopcroft's Holt, and I went along to that, and I think I'm member number 22, so I was in at the beginning.
And we used to have committee meetings in the back of a pub in Hemel Hempstead. There were 2 or 3 annual meetings a year. The club was like 100, 120 strong, and we used to sit in my house, lick stamps, stick them on envelopes and go down, and you used to be given 30-odd newsletters each to send out because you'd fill a mailbox wherever you went, and that irritated some people. And it was all, you know, very amateur, Roney-owed newsletters.
In the beginning, I tended to shy away from taking any responsibilities, but as time went on, in fact, we found that the central control of the club was a bit unwieldy, and I formed what was then the first local group, which was the Thames Valley Group. I was living in Sunbury-on-Thames at the time, and that was the first of the local groups, and they, of course, really have turned out to be the backbone of the register. I think there's about 25 or 30 now.
I missed the first meeting. I got along to the second meeting at Hopcroft's Holt, joined the register, and then later on that year, Darrell Hugh Pritchard contacted me and said, let's form a local group here in the Thames Valley area.
So were you another TR owner who was really frustrated because there wasn't a club around?
Because I've been a 750 club member for years, and I thought, well, why isn't there? I go past people, I wave and say, yeah, it's a TR, and there isn't a club for us.
Were you what I call an active club member who wanted to make it bigger straight away?
Well, it was obvious there were a lot of TR people, and that the club would expand very rapidly once it was formed, as indeed it did. And yes, I did want to make it bigger because there was knowledge that I had and others had that we could share, and there were other opportunities which came along, like the spares side, because it was difficult to run a TR in those days when Standard Triumph were beginning to run things down.
So was it not very easy for a TR owner to get technical help from the factory in those days?
I think it's near impossible, unless you had the contacts.
What did the club set out to do in the first few years?
Well, in the first few years, it was set out to preserve the mark TR2, 3 and 3A. And this was fine in the first 4 or 5 years, when in fact TR2s, 3s and 3As needed looking after, because perhaps TR4s and 5s were sort of current cars there, and those members didn't seem to be clubby types. But as the years went by, of course, we had to extend that to cover all the marks, right up to including the TR7 and 8.
In the early days, we had a vote as to whether we should include full membership to people who drove cars with wind-up windows, i.e. TR4s and onwards. Of course, in those days, the TR6 was a production car, so you wouldn't expect people to join a club with a production car because they would just buy it and sell it after a couple of years. But the enthusiasm was strong, and in fact we had that vote, and then we had a vote to include TR7s, which of course was a completely different kind of TR. But the fact is that, you know, I mean, the highlight is the fact that it's still here. I mean, I say as strong, it's stronger than ever, in fact. The only sad thing, I think, is that the younger people aren't buying these cars anymore. They want Mazdas and they want Lotuses and that kind of thing. And, you know, we don't want the cars to die with the people, which is the danger. I mean, there are some father and son combinations where the son takes on the car off the father. But the average age here today will probably have a 4 in front of it, and of course that's good for today, and it means that it does mean they're being those kind of people tend to have more money, and it means that those people with more money spend more money on the cars. They're more likely to be preserved.
You've been in the Register now for as long as there's been a Register. Did you ever expect to see it as big as this, or to last as long as it has?
I certainly expected it to last because the need is always there. I don't think I could have anticipated the membership we now have. That is frankly amazing.
Is the Register now totally different in every way from the one that you helped to found?
No, I don't think it's totally different. I mean, the core enthusiasm and the rationale of the club has got to be the members, and the club caters for its members, and I think it's got a dedicated committee, and it always has had, and I think the local group structure is still the backbone. So I think in its core, it's very much the same club.
Then, as now, TR enthusiasts joined the Register for a whole variety of reasons. Some wanted to buy parts to rebuild their cars, and some went on to prepare books all about them. Some like to buy clothes to advertise their TR enthusiasms. If the cap fits, wear it. And some just like to read about TRs. And there all seem to be as many sellers as buyers and tyre kickers of classic TRs. Most of the time, though, people joined the Register because they enjoyed driving their TRs. TRs of all shapes, performance and condition. Every meeting seemed to have a competition of one sort or another. Maybe a concourse, a sprint, or a driving test. Some were definitely more serious than others. But how often do you see the driver getting a bag put on over his head before tackling a driving test? Love the helmet. All good clean fun, especially if the weather's fine. Concourse has always been popular too.
Hopefully it'll all be done tonight with some just final finishing off tomorrow. It was a little bit of tender loving care yesterday, but the drive up from Kent today has taken its toll, as you can see, and with some serious people here, and I'm as keen to be successful as they are, obviously, and it would be nice if one of the later cars could have a little bit of success in the masterclass, and I'm working at that.
Local centres have been set up and grown so much that the Register now has 46 regional groups in the UK and 22 of them overseas. Some members start very young and have a lot of fun before they're old enough to drive TRs. When they are old enough, they enjoy eating together, drinking together and just talking TRs.
Look at this.
Some big stotties are going on.
You don't make
cheese. What
you do is you get one in there.
We're not going to see the breakfast menu. Yeah, we've got the bacon for the morning.
There's my spoon.
Try a spoon. Yeah.
But for some, a big meeting is all a bit too much. Seasoned members, though, keep some energy in reserve for the discos which end most TR gatherings. Then, as now, members always wanted to get the most from their TRs, whether it was in racing, rallying, or especially in concourse. The highlight of every meeting, whether it's in the local pub car park or at the international weekend, is the concourse, where TRs in better than original condition are lined up for inspection. Standards have risen so much over the years that it simply isn't enough to show a car that's as nice as Triumph made it. To win, or even to be commended, it has to be a lot better than that. To prove the point, think about all the work which goes into them and what the judges were looking for in a detailed examination.
The bottom hose comes off there. Again, original hoses and clips. Just generally grubby, isn't it, really? So we've got a mark for the radiator, the hoses and the clips here. So
this one is in the wrong position.
Yes.
It should be down.
And he added a TR4 fuse box.
Yeah, that's not the original fuse box either. So
he has the right battery.
yeah, the battery is correct. Yeah,
That's good.
That's all right. The wiring loom for the rest is it's okay.
And electrical equipment, yes, that's right.
He has the right
Control box is in the wrong position.
So once again, he's really being marked down for the fact that he's non-standard.
Yeah.
He should follow the fuel pipe. He should go down under
line.
here, under the thermostat housing, and coming up and going over here.
the battery itself is not too bad, but again, just isn't it? It's just general oxidation where it could be cleaner, and the electrical equipment, the alternator and coil.
Let's give him the benefit and go for 6 for the moment on the rubber.
I bought it about 6 years ago as a very straight and standard original TR7 and ran it for 5 years. The last time it was out was when it won the club concours at Shepton Mallet, about 2 or 3 years, 3 years ago. And I'd taken it as far as I could, and once I got bored, I wanted a new challenge. So I thought I'll have the engine bay respayed from the original colour, which the car was of silver, and it just got a little bit out of hand.
It's been here 20 times this year. It's all original. There's no respray, no rebuild, no nothing. It won't win, but it's a bit of fun coming in, and I know a lot of people here.
Had an extra active 93, 94 then?
Yeah.
Some of the Register's best-known cars, though, are not concourse, but well-known ex-works rally cars.
I found the TR4 through an advert in Exchange and Mart in 1969. I was looking at the time for something to replace my TR2, which was worn out, frankly, and there wasn't the opportunity to rebuild in those days. It was my daily car. And I found this modified car advertised. I went and saw it and thought, by golly, it's got the sort of extra performance I want, because I was looking for more than the TR2 had. And I picked it up for £435.
Was it a difficult job to get it back to a condition something like the original of 1962 to 64?
It is, because so much is special, even more than Neil Revington and I realised about it, because it's only when you lift the engine, the body off the chassis, that you appreciate all the other things that are there.
So you had for years the only surviving ex-works rally car in this country. Suddenly there's another one alongside you, which has recently arrived. Did it surprise you when this other car reappeared?
No, because 5 years ago it was advertised, and Neil contacted me at that point. The price was absolutely ludicrous at the time, but Neil and I obviously have been in contact over the rebuild of mine. We are good friends and have been since 1976. So I helped him, if you like, identify the fact that it was 6VC and not 5VC, and was watched with interest while he pursued it, if you like, until finally it's here. And I am not envious. I think it's great that we've got two of them back together again, and it's one of my oldest friends in the Register who's got it.
Is it important for a club like the Register to have famous artefacts, if you like, around?
Yes, I think it is. We have a history, and these cars here are part of it. And the great thing is that they are used. They're not museum pieces.
Racing has always been important to TR Register members, who've now been able to compete in their own one-make series for some years. Competition chairman Mike Hughes knows all about the heritage and the state of play in the Cox and Buckles series.
Well, back in the late 70s, early 80s, there were a number of TR Register members who were competing in various other classic championships. And it was thought a good idea, if we could get enough people interested, that we'd have our own series. So in 1984, we actually piloted the series, and just to be on the safe side, we invited the big Austin Healeys to join us in the first year. But it became very apparent that we didn't really need them, because very quickly we'd got full grids. And so they were dropped for the second year, and really we've gone on since then.
Has this series grown in popularity?
Yeah, we had pretty steady growth actually, up until about 89, 90, which was probably the peak years when we had over 70 drivers registered for the championship, and we had full grids at most of the circuits. We have seen a slight decline since then, due to the various things that have happened basically, and I think we've seen most of the other classic one-make series have suffered the same things as we have. We've got over 50 people registered for this year, and although it's not a particularly good entry today, I think mainly because it's a new circuit, it's a long way for some people to travel. But 2 weeks ago at Donington we had 25 TRs on the grid.
Do most of the drivers do their own preparation?
I would say about 50-50. What we tend to find is that the drivers in the more standard cars, in the road sports and some of the tune car classes, they tend to do most of their own preparation. But as we move up the classes and the cars tend to be a bit more sophisticated, then a lot of the work is then actually farmed out to the specialists. And there's any number of those that are involved with the series.
Can a novice driver compete in this championship?
Certainly, yes. We have a separate championship which runs within the overall championship for newcomers, which are basically first-time TR drivers. And they, as I say, they can compete and they have their own trophy. And it does obviously encourage people who haven't raced before to be able to come out for the first or second season in some circumstances and actually win something, even though they're competing against obviously a lot more experienced competitors.
It's a kind of magic. We're working well.
Phil Britton, Master Chef at Top London Hotel during the week, TR Racer at weekend. What first attracted you to the TR Register Race Championship?
Well, I got a TR2 and I thought I'd have a bit of fun and race that. And I realised that after coming to see all you guys, I realised it would take a lot of work to put it together. And so I decided to buy one, which is this one. And evidently it raced a couple of seasons ago and did pretty well and got recognised, so I thought it'd be a good start.
Hey, you want to see
Mate, you want to see my chassis?
Obviously a very interesting colour scheme on your car. What's the story behind it?
Well, my young son William, a few years ago, we were trying to think of a colour, something different, because it was midnight blue, fairly boring, and we just couldn't think what colour to do. And he had a Benetton Formula 1 dinky toy, and sort of held that, and we thought, well, that's what we'll do. So we did that, and it's come like this. I've never changed it, so I think it looks quite good.
Mike McKenna, a relative newcomer to the series, second season of competition. How are you enjoying it so far?
I'm having a great time. It's a sort of lifetime's ambition for me to get back into doing this sort of thing, and it's always been difficult before. I've always tended to work at weekends as my main problem, but it's been a great time. Everyone's very friendly.
That looked pretty exciting, Colin. V8's looked to have it sewn up at the start, but Joe Henderson obviously had different plans.
I think Joe Henderson and Mr. Dingle. It's quite amusing to watch them behind. I thought I was going to have a bit more of a easy race than what I actually did. John actually got a good start as usual. Saw him behind me going down that back straight first time. Thought, yeah, this is plan A, we're off. All of a sudden, there's a 6 up John's backside, and then he's on the inside, and then there's a 6 behind me, and John's back behind me again. And lo and behold, it's not long before I've got Mr. Henderson behind me, and screaming up the inside of me. I will have to throw a bit more caution to the wind and try a little bit harder, and that's precisely what I did. Luckily, the 8s will just always outgrunt the 6s, so could pull enough down each straight to make sure that I got the next entry and exit right. With Joe behind me once again, trying to nudge, but as luck would have it, held on and got the final victory. But a very good race here, most enjoyable.
Concours competitors too take delight in parading their success, especially in magnificent summer conditions like this.
As it's our 25th anniversary, we thought that we would have a little collection. There are only 5 or 6 people here who've actually had their TRs for 25 years or more. So we thought that it would be nice just to put them in front between the cars and the prizes, so that as the winning concours cars drive around and park and collect their prize in front of the trophy table, they pass these old stages, which have, that's the cars, not the people, which have been owned by the same owner for at least 25 years. The winner of the TRGB trophy, another signal red TR5 of Steve Fitton.
You got it. Smile ahead.
Yes, I got one or two friends.
Yeah, there was a whole grandstand.
I'm not sure whether that was with the car or his attractive lady wife. My pleasure, madam, my pleasure. Well, she did thank us for the compliment, you know. The next award, the best stand, the blue TR6, is Maria Lewis. Now, where have I seen that name before? And the winner of the Gunnell Cup, Theo Coughlin, with a red TR7. Here we are. Well done, Terry.
Patience with the video cameras and also with the still race.
The next trophy is for the best overseas car. This is won by a German. It's a TR6, a red TR6. I like the flag. Thank you, sir. I take that as a very courteous gesture. Klaus Koppen from
Germany. From Germany.
From Germany.
Well done.
and the Constant Beckles Masterclass Trophy, this large, imposing, dazzling trophy, this year has been won by Brian Harbour in his TR7 V8.
Smile. Shake hands and smile.
And the number, of course, is very appropriate, a TR7OK.
We have to look for stills.
And the best overall car, the car of the show if you like, the British Leyland Premier Award goes to Maria Lewis with her blue TR6. Classical Weekly requests all the winners to stay with their cars for a moment in the field. Well done, Maria. Get polishing.
By the 1990s, the Register was ready to buy its permanent headquarters in Didcot and was proud to welcome Triumph's long-term technical chief, Harry Webster, to open the building.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start the official proceedings. The official ones have been going on for the last hour and a half or so. I'd like to officially welcome each and every one of you and thank you for going to the trouble of coming here today and helping us to celebrate the opening of our new premises. I'm Ian Amsley, current chairman of the TR Register, and in welcoming you all, I would first and foremost like to welcome our honoured guest and official opener, Harry Webster, and his wife Peggy.
Here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for someone who was training to be a doctor in his formative years, I feel very honoured to be here today in order to perform this ceremony on behalf of your club. One little dreams in earlier days when you're doing the job for which you're paid, paid fairly well I suppose in those days, that this sort of thing can happen. It looks to me as though you've got one of the best and good, thriving clubs of all the cars you mentioned, for which I was, me and my colleagues, never forget them because I had a wonderful team of people. And I wish you and your members all the success you deserve. And in opening these new headquarters for you, I am very proud and happy to do so. So without furthermore ado, I will now perform the opening ceremony. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much indeed, Harry and Peggy. I'm going to ask Rosie just to make a little presentation.
Thank you very much, because the pleasure is all ours. We're very proud to have you here.
Thank you.
And I've taken yours behind you.
So you couldn't see them, Peggy?
I'm sure you guessed. These are thank you very much.
When the Register was founded, its aim was to help preserve, then to restore, as many TRs as possible. To do that, parts and technical expertise had to be assembled, and over the years, a number of specialists have grown up to provide these to all members. On occasions such as the International Weekend, and at many other regional gatherings, members shop around for the bits and pieces they need to rebuild their TRs.
Well, it's 25 quid, okay. Well, 20 would be better, but...
That's fine. I'm an easy man to please.
Right, I'll have these down here for you for tomorrow morning. Thanks very much. Okay.
You can get the engine and gearbox out with the exhaust on, but you can't get the gearbox out on its own.
Recently, too, the Register has organised restoration seminars. This is how a group of TR7, TR8 owners learn more about their cars. The subject being the car which was to be the prize of the Register's major anniversary year competition.
initially it started off as just standard TR7, been converted to V8, and we had it in our stocks. The TR Register approached us with a view to us supplying a car for the anniversary for them to raffle, and with a view to doing some seminars on it. We saw, yeah, it's a good idea. One, to promote the club, two, to promote our business. We saw the seminars as a way of, how can I put it, dispelling some of the myths regarding the V8 conversion and show people how it should be done and not how people think it should be done. The value of this car would be in excess of £12,000, so it's worth winning.
The thing I would do is, if anybody's building an engine, always drill about 8 holes around the side of the pickup, like that. And it's a really good sort of point in that, because then obviously the oil flows in from the side as well. And it saves you a lot of aggro, a lot of heartache, a lot of worrying moments. No. Right.
What sort of size?
Probably a 3/8 hole.
So now you're talking about checking for coolant leaks. Would you change those O-rings with the 2 pipes come in as a matter of course, or?
If the dashboard's out, yeah, for anything like, or you're doing the V8 conversion, you top your dashboards off, yeah, I probably would do, because they're a real pain in the neck. They actually go up there, you probably know. Those are the heat seals themselves. You can always tell because you'll have a drip of water coming down here, or it'll be wet inside here. You can put your hand up inside there.
How do those 2 pipes come off the heater? Are they just a push and fit out?
That's right, just a push and fit, yeah, into 2 seals. Trouble is, you've got to go and take the heater out to do it, because you've got to go and split it all. It's all riveted together. So you're just going to start riveting it. So basically, get a drill, de-rivet the whole lot, and rivet it back together again. If I just jack it up, I might want to show you. I think I'll probably put it pretty much right. Can you hear it pulling it over now? That is no good whatsoever really, because you're not going to get it in with any ease or anything. So what you want to do is just lower it. Slowly. Because it's going to catch anyway, it's going to catch on there. Drop it over like that. And here's the tricky bit. You don't want it to go fall in your front pan and make it a bit of a mess, you know. Just lower it down slowly.
I've got a TR7, actually, which is outside. I've had my car 12 years now. I was only 2 years old when I had it, so it's like part of the family. So.
And what have you found particularly interesting about the seminars this weekend?
Well, I never came on the other previous 2 seminars for the bodywork, and I was amazed at the work that's gone into the shell on this, and all the nooks and crannies which you never get to see when your own car's got carpets and things in, so I found that very interesting. And also there's been quite a few good tips for doing mechanical things. It's been very worthwhile.
Have you got a V8 in your car?
No, I've got the Dolomite Sprint engine in mine, which is like halfway between a standard TR7's performance and the V8. So
got any plans for a V8?
Possibly, if the funds allow it, but after seeing all this lovely bodywork, I think that's going to be, I'd rather do that to my car.
And what's the particular appeal of a TR7 then?
Well, I've always liked the shape of them. I always thought they was way ahead of the time. Just basically, just appeal, one of the nicest looking two-seaters that's about. So,
Once the Register had been founded, it wasn't long before the first overseas members were enrolled. For them, even more than for British TR owners, it was always important to gain access to the Register's services. Whether it was for technical information, for parts, or just to have a good time, the Register was very important to them. The Register is now so large and so important to all its members that many overseas TR groups regularly make the pilgrimage to the International Weekend or to other sporting events in the UK. Many members make a holiday out of the trip too, as did these Belgian enthusiasts who were on their way to the Shepton Mallet International at the Bath and Wells Showground in 1993. They took part in all the activities, even if they didn't expect to win. Let's hope the weather at TR events is always good enough for owners to run around with the hoods folded back. There's nothing like a rainstorm for putting a damper on a Register weekend. It doesn't matter where they are, what country they're in, or what the local language is. TR enthusiasts just like to be together, to show off their cars, and to make sure each and every one of them goes home with happy memories of yet another TR Register occasion. Especially if there's likely to be a kiss from the local beauty queen built into the festivities. Some members, though, travel to the International for fun and leave it with yet another TR in their stable.
Well, I would say it's more a toy for my husband. He always wanted a TR5, and we bought one today. And I must say, I'm looking forward to drive that too.
And is this the first TR that you've had?
No, about 6 years ago we bought a TR6. Then a couple of years later a Spitfire Mark 1. Well, and now this one.
So how important is a weekend like this to you as an overseas member?
Well, it's probably easier also to get bits and pieces for the car on a show like this. And also, I suppose, quite a bit cheaper. Because in Germany, everything is a bit more expensive, isn't it?
Do you make a special journey just for this weekend, or are you having a holiday as well?
Well, this year and the last year we had to have a holiday. No, actually also we do it now the third time, the show. We always combine it with a family holiday because my husband is Cornish and we're off to Cornwall then and spend another 1-2 weeks down there.
So do you enjoy being driven or driving a TR yourself?
I drive a TR myself. I like it. I like driving them, and thank God I got a husband. He let drive me a TR.
And if so many overseas members take the trouble to travel to the International, we make sure they enjoy themselves. The very least the Register can do is to give them a party on arrival. In Jubilee year, even the Register's chairman, Ian Evans, was staggered by the response.
Let me welcome you all officially to the 25th anniversary of the TR Register of the UK. You, of course, most of you, don't come from the UK. And that's what makes this meeting so special. As you know, we always have a special meeting for our overseas friends and guests. And it's always held between 6 and 7 on a Saturday. This year, there appear to be even more of you than ever, I'm very pleased to say. Of course, you have been attracted by the typical English summers, as well as the solemnity and importance of the occasion. Can I just see where we are? There's a mob from Hanover, I think. The Hanover team over there. Are there any more Germans lurking around? One over there? Any Swiss? Swiss? Any Belgians? A few Belgians? What about the Dutchmen? Are there any Italians this year? Italians? Fine. And are there any French? I'm very pleased to see that the French have got their act together at last, that they're getting very well organised now. I can see we've got an American and an expat Englishman over there from California. Hi. And oh, you as well? Oh, of course, yes. I apologise. Yes. And as you know, last year I had a marvellous month in South Africa, and there are some South Africans here, I think, over there, and a Zimbabwean. And New Zealand. I'm sorry, have I missed anybody out? Or have we just about covered the globe?
So, how could the Register make the 25th anniversary truly memorable? One answer was to run this ambitious Win This Car competition, with one lucky member standing to become the owner of a newly prepared TR7 V8, all for the price of a £1 raffle ticket. But this was no ordinary TR, for in the first months of 1995 it was completely, carefully and meticulously restored to newly minted condition. The glistening TR7 V8 made the rounds of Register shows during the summer, before taking pride of place at the international weekend. The response was colossal, and there was a sackful of tickets in the raffle bag. After the draw had been made by TR designer Harris Mann at the Register's Open Day at Didcot in October, the lucky winner, David Holland, from Biggar in Scotland, collected his car at the National Classic Motor Show in November. David and his wife Morag were quite stunned at first, but soon settled into the silver machine and couldn't wait to drive it home. For ex-TR6 owner David, there was certainly a lot to learn and a lot to talk about.
And they were driving back to Scotland tomorrow in it. Well done, David. Morag.
Legendary racing driver Stirling Moss, who handed over the keys, claimed his prize from Morag Holland.
They'll fit in the boot, I think.
For Rosie Good, anniversary year was over. It must have been a relief.
Some relief, yes, but it's sad as well. It's been such a fantastic year for us. It's exceeded our wildest expectations. We've had such wonderful events. We've had local events virtually everywhere. Almost all of our 46 groups have put something on. We've had tours. We've had a champagne tour, which was very appropriate for our 25th year. We've just had a most marvellous year.
So what was the main event?
The main event, and our most successful that we've ever had in this club, has been raffling this wonderful TR7 V8. We've sold a staggering 17,373 tickets, and we've had 1,000 tickets as well that have gone to new members who've joined the club this year, and it's been just tremendous. The car's been used for rebuild seminars while it was being rebuilt, so we've had all that use of it as well. It's been a fantastic publicity exercise.
The TR7 looks absolutely wonderful. There must have been so many people who helped a lot.
Yes, we had some excellent sponsorship. S&S Preparations supplied all the labour to actually rebuild the car for us and have given us an enormous amount of help. And Rimmer Brothers provided parts either free or at cost price so that the car could be rebuilt. And the most important person has been Lorraine Peterson. She's masterminded the whole project, from rebuild seminars to taking the car to all the shows throughout the year and getting it here today looking so good. because it's been such a huge success, we decided that we would make a donation of 5% of the proceeds to charity, and that comes to £870.
We think Sterling would have liked the TR for himself. But if that's the end of one Register generation, what about the next? Where do we go from here?
Well, from now, of course, this is our Silver Jubilee. Now we look forward to the Golden Jubilee, the next 25 years. We must continue to offer value for money. We have never been a club, and we must never be a club that just soaks its members and makes a vast profit to whatever end. We must expand member services. We must continue to make the headquarters more efficient. We've taken great strides in that direction. We must always remain available to members. There are all sorts of activities that we've not yet touched. I'm thinking of foreign travel. I'm thinking of travel within this country. I'm thinking of perhaps partnerships with manufacturers of increasingly hard to get spare parts. We have, in fact, this year developed a partnership on insurance with Flint Insurance Company. There are lots of ideas we have. Sometimes we haven't got people to action them. Sometimes we haven't got the money to set them up. Sometimes we need a specific input to the TR Register headquarters to action them. But we have got ideas. Above all, we must expand, we must continue to offer value for money, and we must develop and grow with the members that we've already got.
So if the Register does so much, offers so much, and is already planning ahead, why are there TR owners out there who are not yet Register members? What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, of course, they must have heard of the TR Register. If they haven't, then that is our failure. They have so much benefit coming to them in joining the Register. If Joe Bloggs joins the Register, or doesn't join the Register, that in itself won't make a lot of difference to the Register. But if he joins as an individual the TR Register, it will make an enormous difference to him and his car. It will mean that if his car isn't on the road, he can put it on the road so much more quickly, so much more efficiently, and with a lot of help. It means that if he's interested in social activities, a whole panoply of social activities is there in his locality through the local group. If he's interested in competition, it's all there. We have done the groundwork, we have done it all for him, we have made it as easy as possible for him to enjoy, to keep, and to run his TR.
For the TR Register, its officers and all its members, therefore, this has only been the start of a lifetime's commitment to enjoyable TR motoring. The end of the first 25 years now signals the beginning of the next 25. We're all looking forward to getting there in the year 2020. So, Rosie, now you can relax. Or does the General Manager of the TR Register ever relax?
I don't think ever relax. In a club like this, there's always something going on, and it feels a bit like the Challenge Annika programme sometimes, but there's always something going on.